Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Ria Mariam. I am an assistant professor from Rama University, Faculty of Pharmaceutical Science. Today I will take the lecture on anticoagulants. So, anticoagulants. What does it mean by anticoagulants? Anticoagulants are also known as blood thinners. Okay, what is it known as? Blood thinners. By the name itself, we can see that this prevents or reduces the coagulation of blood. Okay, so the major action of the anticoagulants is that it reduces or prevents the coagulation of blood. Coagulation of blood means clotting, blood clotting. Okay, then today we will deeply discuss upon the classification of anticoagulants, and in specifically we will discuss about the indirect thrombin inhibitors. Okay, indirect thrombin inhibitors and heparin and its antidote and the mechanism of action. So, these are the things we are going to discuss today. First of all, as I told about the anticoagulants, first of all we will learn about the classification of anticoagulants. Generally, the anticoagulants, they are divided into two. Okay, first one is parenteral anticoagulants and second one is oral anticoagulants. So, this parenteral anticoagulants, these are further divided into indirect thrombin inhibitors and direct thrombin inhibitors. Under this indirect thrombin inhibitors, there are heparin, fontoparinox and unfractionated heparin. Then one more is there, that is known as low molecular weight heparin. Okay, so then the indirect thrombin inhibitors, there are biviridin and lepidolin. Okay, so these are the classification. And coming to the oral anticoagulants, it is further classified into coumarin derivatives and oral direct thrombin inhibitors and direct factor 10A inhibitors. So, this comes under the oral anticoagulants. Under coumarin derivatives, there are two main drugs which are useful uses in the worldwide, that is warfarin sodium and the second one is acinocoumaril. And under this, in oral direct thrombin inhibitors, it comes dabigatran etixalate. And the third one, under this, rivaroxaban. Okay, so these are the classification of anticoagulants. It is converted into parenteral anticoagulants and oral anticoagulants. Parent anticoagulants is further divided into indirect thrombin inhibitors and direct thrombin inhibitors. Inside this direct thrombin inhibitors, biviridin and lepidolin is there, and in oral anticoagulants, it is further divided into three: coumarin derivatives, oral direct thrombin inhibitors and direct factor 10A inhibitors. Now we are going to discuss in detail about the indirect thrombin inhibitors. By the name itself, we can see that it go and binds with the thrombin indirectly, which is an important factor for the coagulation of blood, that is clotting. So, now we are going to discuss about the classification of indirect thrombin inhibitors. The first one is unfractioned heparin. So, heparin is a major anticoagulant which is used for the deep vein thrombosis or ischemic stroke. These are the major indications for the heparin. So, this unfractionated heparin, it is usually found or the best sources for the heparin is that it is found in the intestinal mucosa, which is rich in the Marl tissue. So, Marl tissue is rich in what? It is rich in the mast cells. Okay, so these are derived from the mast cells in the human body. Okay, then the next one is the synthetic type of heparin, okay, that which is commercially produced, that are produced from the porcine intestinal mucosa layer, okay, because that is rich in the mast cells. So, these are the sources of the unfractioned heparin. Now, coming to the mechanism of action of heparin. Before coming to the mechanism of action, we should know about the structure of the heparin. So the structure of heparin includes 5 anti-active pentasaccharide. Active pentasaccharide. Pentasaccharide means it contains 5 molecules of sugar. Okay, so it contains active pentasaccharide, and it is attached to a long chain of heteropolysaccharide. Okay, it contains long chain of heteropolysaccharide. Okay, this one is heteropolysaccharide. Usually this unfractioned heparin is made up of glycosaminoglycan. The active pentasaccharide come and join with the antithrombin 3. This one is pentasaccharide, and this is antithrombin 3. Antithrombin 3. Antithrombin 3 is a natural substance which is found inside our body to balance between the clotting and bleeding mechanism in our body. So antithrombin 3 is responsible for the balancing of the bleeding and clotting system in our body. So this pentasaccharide go and binds with the antithrombin 3, and it will facilitate the action of antithrombin 3. Okay, this is the major mechanism of the unfractioned heparin. This heteropolysaccharide and pentasaccharide go and binds with the antithrombin 3, and this antithrombin 3 will go and inhibit the action of 10A. Okay, 10A is a factor, is a coagulation factor. It is also known as stored power factor. Okay, it will go and bind with the 10A, and it will inhibit the action of inhibit the action of clotting. So this is the basic mechanism, and here in unfractionated heparin, this will also facilitate the breakdown of 2A factor, which is known as the prothrombin factor in the coagulation cascade. Okay, so this is the basic mechanism of unfractionated heparin. So now the second one is low molecular weight heparin. Low molecular weight heparin, which is abbreviated as LMWH. So what's the drawback of this unfractionated heparin is that it has got a high molecular weight, hence the bioavailability of the drug is decreased, because this has got a high molecular weight, hence it cannot be passed through the plasma membrane or the cell, so that the absorption will get decreased. So they found out the low molecular weight heparin. What they did is that they chopped off this heteropolysaccharide chain, and they found out this new drug, that is active pentasaccharide with small heteropolysaccharide chain. Because they just chopped off, and it became low molecular weight. Okay, so this is the difference between the unfractionated heparin and the low molecular weight. This is the same mechanism, that which is this active pentasaccharide will go and binds with the antithrombin 3, and it will bind with 10A factor, okay, and inhibit the action of this. The same mechanism itself, but the thing is that they just reduced the molecular weight of this drug. Okay, but one more difference is that they don't facilitate the breakdown of prothrombin, which is 2A. Okay, only small amount of prothrombin is only facilitated in this case. So this is the difference between unfractionated heparin and the low molecular weight heparin. So basically, if we see, the active pentasaccharide is the only substance which enhances the action of clotting factors. So for that, they produced a new drug called fontoparanix. Okay, in this structure, it has only got active pentasaccharide. Okay, it has only got active pentasaccharide, which will go and binds with the antithrombin 3. So this is a synthetic drug which is derived from the unfractionated heparin and low molecular weight heparin. Okay, these are the classification of indirect thrombin inhibitors. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the Side effect of the heparin. Okay, side effect of heparin we can learn from this itself, that is heparin induced thrombocytopenia, that is also known as HIT, heparin induced thrombocytopenia. Okay, thrombocytopenia means what? It means decrease in the platelet count, decrease in the platelet count. Okay, so as far as the structure of heparin, in the unfractionated heparin, what it will produce antibodies. Okay, it will produce antibodies against the heteropolysaccharide. So this antibodies will cross react with the platelets. Okay, this antibodies will cross react with the platelets and it will form aggregation of platelets. It will result into aggregation of platelets. Okay, aggregation of platelets, and this will produce into thrombosis, which will consume all the platelets. Hence, the platelets count will get decreased. So, this is the mechanism of heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. As far as this structure, this heteropolysaccharide, the antibodies will get react against this heteropolysaccharide. Hence, the antibodies will cross react with the platelets and platelets will get aggregation of platelets will occur, and that will lead to the thrombosis. So, thrombosis will consume all the platelets and it will decrease the number of platelets inside our body. So, this is the action of heparin induced thrombocytopenia. But if we want to classify the heparin induced thrombocytopenia into the drugs, like there are 3 different types of drugs as I have told in heparin: unfractionated heparin, low molecular weight heparin and fondaparinux. So, in unfractionated heparin, the risk of heparin induced thrombocytopenia is very large compared to the other drugs, because in low molecular weight heparin, the heteropolysaccharide is small. Hence, there will be not that much antibodies produced against this heteropolysaccharide. In case of fondaparinux, there is no chance of getting heparin induced thrombocytopenia, because in fondaparinux there is no heteropolysaccharide chain. Hope you understand. Now we are going to discuss about the antidote of heparin. Antidote of heparin. So, if there is overdose of heparin, which is the substance we should be prescribed to the patient? That is protamine sulfate. Protamine sulfate. So, this is the chemical substance which is given for the overdose of heparin. This protamine sulfate is an strong basic. It's a strong basic cationic substance. Okay, it has got a positive charge. Okay, the protamine sulfate is a strong basic. It has got a cationic positive charge, and this heparin is a acidic substance, and it has got anionic charge, that is minus charge. Okay, so this protamine sulfate will go and bind with the heparin and it becomes a salt. Okay, it becomes a stable salt. Okay, so this is the action that is producing in the antidote of heparin. Okay, the protamine sulfate, it is a strong basic which is a cation. It will go and binds with the heparin, which is acidic anion, because there will be action against positive and negative charges, and it will form a stable salt. Okay, then what happened is that it will get reduce the action of heparin. Okay, in for 100 mg of protamine sulfate is neutralizes, okay, 100 units of heparin. Okay, so 100 mg of protamine sulfate will neutralize the 100 units of heparin. So this is the mechanism of antidote of heparin overdose. Okay, thank you.